Falkreath. This is the hold we actually start the game in Skyrim. However, despite this, many players rarely explore this area in any significant capacity, partly because it's the only hold in the base game that is not required to be explored whatsoever during the main story, but mostly because the majority of the best quests this region has on offer require you to already be inside the hold in order to find any of them. But what does the future have in store for this part of Skyrim? That's what I aim to find out today. How yin's doing? I'm Ian, and this is my speculation on what becomes of the Hold of Falkreath after the events of Skyrim conclude. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Hold of Falkreath is nestled in the southwest corner of Skyrim, and controls the only land routes between the Redguard homeland of Hammerfell and the Imperial capital province of Cyrodiil. And the only two major settlements in this entire hold actually lie on intersections that include these two passageways. The most well-known among players is Helgen, since it's the one we start the game in. You know, that town that got destroyed by a dragon during the tutorial. The town of Helgen, or more accurately what's left of it, can be found on the intersection between the mountain pass to Cyrodiil and the mountain pass to the previously covered Hold of the Rift. Meanwhile, the capital city of the Hold of Falkreath, the city of Falkreath, lies on the intersection where the road to Hammerfell meets with the main roads of Skyrim. And I suspect these roads are the reason that Falkreath has such a massive graveyard, since while it is mentioned they have a massive graveyard due to how many battles have been fought in the region, it's never explicitly told to us why there were so many battles being fought in Falkreath specifically in the first place. But with these two main roads, it's pretty easy to guess why. If you're trying to invade Skyrim by land, and you're coming in from the south, you're going to hit this hold first. This means realistically every attempt to conquer Skyrim that didn't come from the Dark Elves of Morrowind either came in via boat or through this hold's mountain passes. As for the climate within the hold, it's mostly pine forests, with the occasional Nordic tomb or bandit camp acting as landmarks. But the hold's most distinguished feature is actually its massive lake. Lake Ilinata, despite being the largest lake in all of Skyrim, perplexingly has no permanent population along its shoreline. Sure, you'll find the occasional hunter or fisherman, but that's not exactly unique to the lake itself. That's found throughout the entirety of the hold. In fact, the only permanent residents along the lake's coastline consist of a single lumber mill run by vampires. I think I figured out why no one lives along this lake. Thankfully, if we decide to join the Dark Brotherhood, we actually get a mission to kill these vampires. But even if we decide not to join the Dark Brotherhood, it's safe to assume these vampires' days are numbered. This is because of two simple reasons. One, even if we don't join the Dark Brotherhood, they're still going to send someone to finish the job, and two, someone had to perform the Black Sacrament to get the Dark Brotherhood to do the job in the first place. This means even if you decide to destroy the Dark Brotherhood, the guy who originally hired them to destroy these vampires is still going to be around and kicking, looking for someone to finish the job. My first guess is that they would either contact the Vigilance of Stendarr or the Dawnguard. Regardless, however, someone is coming along at some point in the foreseeable future to kill these vampires. And while one can debate how effective the Dawnguard or Vigilance of Stendarr are going to be in the endeavor of killing these vampires, it's safe to assume that even if they are unsuccessful, that the vampires are going to be forced to relocate to avoid further assassination attempts. But on the subject of the Dark Brotherhood questline, you're going to actually have to set foot in Falkreath if you intend to do it, because at the start of the game, they're actually headquartered in a secret base near their capital city of Falkreath. Although depending on your actions as the player, they will be forced to relocate at some point. But this is a video about Falkreath, not the Dark Brotherhood, so we're going to skip over that for now, but be sure to like and comment down below if you want to see me cover the Dark Brotherhood at some point. But with that said, the only other truly noteworthy thing you can do as the player here in Falkreath is build your own house. This is because in the Hearthfire DLC, there are 3 plots of land that were added to the game where you can build your own mansion. The one here in Falkreath comes with a great view of the lake and a local necromancer performing dark rituals just outside your property line, providing multiple sources of fun for your family to enjoy while you're out adventuring. But the truly unique feature of this homestead is the fact you can build a beehive here that allows you to produce infinite amounts of bees and honeycomb for your personal needs. So if you like using alchemy to create restore stamina potions, this can be a pretty good place to set up shop. To gain access to this land, you'll need to get the approval of the local Jarl. Speaking of which, the Jarl of Falkreath at the start of the game is a man named Siggeir, the corrupt nephew of the previous Jarl who was placed in charge to ensure the Hold would not join the Stormcloaks during the Civil War. If you have the Hearthfire DLC, once you reach level 9, he'll send a courier with a letter to you in order to get you to come over to him for introductions. If you try to speak to him before receiving this letter, you're going to have to do a fetch quest for him to get him some Blackbriar mead. But regardless, if you did the fetch quest or waited for the letter to come your way, you'll then have to go and deal with a bandit camp on his behalf. These bandits were apparently bribing the Jarl to not send law enforcement their way. Emphasis on the were and not are, hence our contracting to their extermination. After we do that and come back to him, he will then give us the right to buy land in the hold, and possibly even the title of Thane, depending on how many other miscellaneous quests we did in the hold as well. Interestingly, if we do become Thane of Falkreath, we'll get access to Rhea. Rhea is the only House Carl in Skyrim that is not a Nord. She is in fact a Redguard. So if you're into ebony chicks and don't want to marry an elf, she's probably one of your best options in the game. However, if you want to get these rewards without needing to do the busy work of an obviously corrupt leader, you can join the Stormcloaks and have Sidgeir replaced by his uncle, resulting in the former Jarl of Dengeir being reinstated to his position. Dengeir is an old man who believes Cyrodiil is too far away from Skyrim to decide what's best for it, and whilst Ulfric Stormcloak is a power-hungry nutcase, he's the devil he knows. Some call him paranoid, and on some level he is, but it's more a matter that he thinks that the Imperial spies run deeper in Falkreath than they actually do. After all, Falkreath contains the only land route between the Imperial capital province of Cyrodiil and Skyrim. This means any reinforcements being sent from the capital to Skyrim would have to either travel through Falkreath or take a boat to travel halfway around a continent. This leads me to believe that the Imperials would have sent assassins to kill Dengeir if he hadn't stepped down from the position of Jarl when he did. At least, that's what I would have done if I were the Imperials. But where does this lead the Horde of Falkreath in the long term? Well, the short answer is not in a very good position. Helgen was the second largest population center in the entire hold, and it's destroyed during the game's tutorial. And most of our interactions with this hold pretty much consist of passing through the area to clear out bandit camps and Nordic tombs for personal gain. And while it is possible for us, the player, to build a mansion here, I honestly don't see that mansion having any practical benefit to the average citizen of the hold. All of this is to say, I don't believe anything we do as a player in a game of Skyrim is going to affect Falkreath in any meaningful capacity. With the vampires of Half Moon Mill inevitably being destroyed, whether it be by our hands in the Dark Brotherhood or by someone else, it can be safely assumed that some sort of fishing village will start to appear along the lake's shoreline. As for the ruins of Helgen, I believe as soon as the Civil War and Dragon Crisis resolve, reconstruction of the city will become inevitable. This is because the city of Helgen lies on a major crossroad, meaning if you're traveling between the Hold of Falkreath and the Rift, or if you're just traveling from Cyrodiil to Skyrim, Helgen will be the first major settlement you will be laying your eyes on. And with Falkreath having such a forested area, getting construction material to rebuild the city with will be relatively cheap. This means the reconstruction of Helgen will be decided by two major facets: how quickly they can find able-bodied individuals to help do the construction, as well as the leadership of the local Jarl. Sidgeir is a rather corrupt individual who doesn't really care about much other than rolling in personal luxury. In fact, if you talk to him during the diplomatic immunity quest in the Thalmor Embassy, he'll even openly state that if he had the power to, he would just spend all of his time at parties like the one you find yourself in during that quest. This means reconstruction from the damages caused by the Dragon Crisis as well as the Civil War are almost certainly going to find themselves rather underfunded, as their budget is being slashed in order to make sure that Sidgeir can roll in luxury and have lavish parties. Meanwhile, Dengeir is likely to be more proactive in the reconstruction of Helgen as soon as he can find people willing to live there. And assuming my theories about what's going to happen outside of Skyrim after the game's conclusion are true, he's going to have all the able-bodied men he could possibly want as people start fleeing Cyrodiil in order to escape both the Dragon Crisis and the Thalmor invasion. But I've already done an entire video about that subject matter and why I think the Civil War will mean nothing by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, so I'll just leave a link to it in the description and have you watch that if you're truly interested on why I believe that's the case. But overall, I suspect the Hold of Falkreath has a slow and painful reconstruction effort ahead of it, with leadership that's either corrupt and incompetent or senile and paranoid, depending on how the Civil War pans out. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, like the video if you did, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next video like this. I've been Ian, you have been you, and this has been my speculation on the future of Falkreath in the game Skyrim. Thank you for watching.